No longer a gang member? Like you're no longer affiliated with any gang?
I just want to be legit. I want to build my own community. I want the buildings to be blue.
Quando Rondo got beat down in federal prison. And no, it wasn't over money. IT wasn't over disrespect. IT wasn't even about the King Von situation. Nah, this was something deeper. Quando got jumped because he crossed a line that the streets never forgive. He walked away from the set. This man went from being a certified Crip, a full-blooded member of the rolling 60’s, to publicly denouncing gang culture, converting to Islam, and telling the world that the gang life was a lie. But the streets never forget, and behind bars, they remember everything. That kind of move comes with consequences, real consequences. But here's the thing. This story isn't just about Quando leaving the Crips. It's about betrayal. It's about murder. It's about federal charges. And about a man who finally realized that the same people claiming to have his back were the ones setting him up to DIE that his old stay locked in. Because this one gets deep that let's break down what really happened to Quando Rondo, how he ended up beaten in federal prison after laying his flag down and announcing he was done with the streets. The Beverly Hills setup. To understand why Quando left the gang and why that decision got him beaten, we need to rewind to August 19, 2022. Quando Rondo was in Los Angeles working on music. Studio sessions, business meetings, the usual rapper routine. But here's what outsiders don't understand about LA. If you're not from there and you got street ties, you're supposed to check in with the local gangs. It's an unspoken rule that's been around for decades. You show respect, you let them know you're in their city, and everything's supposed to run smooth. Quando was affiliated with the rolling 60's Crips, one of the most respected sets in Los Angeles, and so naturally, when he came to town, he checked in that he linked with the homies, let them know he was around, and probably figured he was safe. He thought check-in meant protection. He thought it meant everything was cool, but in LA street politics, that's where he made his biggest mistake, because the same check-in that was supposed to keep him safe was exactly what got him set up. See, Lil Durk had deep connections in Los Angeles, real ties with powerful gang figures. These weren't Instagram friends or clout moves. These were real street relationships built over years. Durk had history with people like Brick Baby, a known LA figure with serious credibility, so when Durk wanted revenge for King Von's death, he allegedly had all the connections he needed to make it happen. Now, to understand why Durk wanted Quando gone, we need to go back even further. November 6, 2020, Atlanta, Georgia. Outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge, King Von, Lil Durk's best friend, his brother, his artist, gets into a heated altercation with Quando Rondo's crew. No one knows exactly how it started, but things got physical fast. Durante the fight, Quando's right-hand man, Low Tim, pulled out a gun and fired, hitting King Von multiple times. Von didn't make it. Low Tim later claimed it was self-defense. And legally it held up, but to Lil Durk, legal or not, his brother was gone. And in street politics, somebody had to pay. For nearly 2 years, Durk allegedly planned his revenge, so when Quando came to LA in 2022 and checked in with the Crips, that's when everything went wrong. Quando Rondo thought he did everything right. He checked in with the rolling 60's Crips. He showed respect. He followed the rules of the streets. But what he didn't know was that the very people he trusted were about to betray him in the worst way possible. According to later federal reports and street rumors, someone from that same Crip set allegedly leaked Quando's exact location, and even the car he was driving, straight to Lil Durk's people. Think about that for a second. Quando did everything. By the book, he checked in, he paid his respects, he followed the code, but the same gang that was supposed to protect him allegedly sold him out to his enemies. The feds would later claim that Lil Durk already had men waiting in Los Angeles, armed, ready, and just waiting for one thing, a location. Once that leaked information came through, they moved. August 19th, 2022, Beverly Hills, California. Quando and his cousin, Low Pab, real name Savasa Robinson, pulled into a gas station. IT was supposed to be a normal stop. Fuel up, grab something to drink, and go. But moments later, an SUV pulled up beside them. Multiple shooters jumped out. No hesitation, no warning. and opened fire in broad daylight. IT was a professional hit, clean, precise. Ruthless. Quando's car was riddled with bullets. Low Pab was hit several times. He didn't make it. He was only 24 years old. Quando himself was shot too, but somehow survived. The attacker sped off, leaving blood and chaos behind. But what truly broke Quando wasn't just the bullets. It was what he learned after, when the feds began piecing the case together. Quando realized a horrifying truth. The same gang he checked in with, the same one he repped, had allegedly given his location to his enemies. The people who were supposed to protect him had set him up to die. His cousin was gone, his loyalty betrayed, his trust shattered. And that's when everything changed for Quando Rondo. The turning point. Imagine following every street rule you were taught, showing respect, checking in, playing by the code, only to find out that the code was a lie. That's when it hit him. Gang life wasn't loyalty. IT wasn't protection. IT was business. A system built to use you until you were no longer useful. Quando's cousin died because of politics, because of loyalty that didn't exist, because he trusted people who sold him out for clout, money, or influence. That moment broke him, and it changed him. He stopped repping the rolling 60’s. He stopped glorifying the streets. He started speaking out, telling the world the truth about gang life, that it's not about brotherhood, it's about manipulation, that it destroys young men and feeds them to the system. Quando Rondo found faith. He converted to Islam, started praying 5 times a day, reading the Quran and talking about peace and redemption, and this was a no-fake camera act. You could feel the change in him. In interviews, he'd say how he finally saw through the lies, how gangbanging only led to death or prison, how the same people calling you brother would sell you out the moment it benefited him. He was done with it. But leaving a gang, especially one as powerful and organized as a rolling 60's, isn't that simple. You can't just say you're out. You can't just walk away to IN gang culture. That's called dropping your flag. And that's one of the worst violations you can commit. To them. It's betrayal. And betrayal demands punishment. Quando knew that. He knew denouncing the Crips and calling gang life a scam were the consequences. But at that point, he didn't care that he'd already been shot. He'd already buried his cousin. He'd already seen the truth, as though he took his chances. Not as a gangster, but as a man trying to live free. The federal charges. But life wasn't done testing him yet. While Quando was recovering, trying to change, and finding peace in his new faith, the feds were building a whole new case against him. December 2023. Quando Rondo was hit with federal drug conspiracy charges, 2 counts. 1 for marijuana and 1 for controlled substances. Now, here's the crazy part. Quando wasn't even moving the product. He wasn't the one selling, managing, or transporting anything. But under federal conspiracy law, you don't need to be directly involved. You just have to know what's going on and stay silent. And that's exactly what got him caught up. Some of the people around him, members of his circle, were allegedly dealing. Quando knew about it, but didn't snitch. And to the feds, that silence was enough to make him part of the conspiracy. Think about that position. He'd just walked away from the gang life. He'd found religion. He was trying to do better. And now he was facing 20 years in prison for something he didn't even do. But still, Quando refused to snitch. Even with everything on the line, even knowing he cut a deal, he stayed solid. The prosecution wanted 20 years. But his lawyers fought back, showing evidence of his transformation, his faith, and his genuine effort to change. In the end, the judge gave him 2 years and 9 months. Not freedom, but a fraction of what the feds wanted. Quando accepted his sentence and no tears. No excuses. He walked into federal prison. Head up, ready to face whatever came next. Prison politics. But what he didn't realize was that behind those walls, the same politics still ruled everything. Federal prison runs on gang control. Same codes. Same hierarchies. Only difference? There's nowhere to hide. And the rolling 60's Crips, they're powerful inside those walls. When word got around that Quando Rondo had checked in, everyone knew who he was. And everyone knew he dropped his flag, publicly called gang culture fake, and walked away from the life that in prison. That's not just disrespect. That a declaration of war. That's when they caught him. They made him pay for it. He was jumped. Beaten by members of his former set. Not over King Von. Not over Lil Durk. Not even over the Beverly Hills HIT. IT was about one thing. Leaving the rolling 60s and calling them out publicly in the streets. You can lose fights, get shot at, or beef with rivals. But you can't leave your gang and speak against it. That's the ultimate sin. And that's exactly what Quando Rondo did. The irony is heartbreaking that he left because he realized the gang had set him up to die. He found peace, walked away, refused to snitch, and still got punished by the same people he was trying to escape. It's like he couldn't win. Either way. Stay in the gang. You die. Leave it. You still get hurt. That's the reality of the system. And no matter what choice you make, the streets always find a way to pull you back in.
And I'm getting punished for it, so I want y'all to know that you actually get punished for doing it.
But here's the part that blows everyone's mind. Despite everything that's happened to Quando Rondo, the loss, the pain, the betrayal, he's still standing tall on his decision to leave that life behind. After losing his cousin, getting shot, catching federal charges, and even getting jumped inside prison, Quando could have easily gone back to that same destructive path. But he didn't. According to people close to him, he's using his time behind bars to actually change that. He's focused. He's praying 5 times a day. He's reading, studying, and staying away from drama, which isn't easy when you're surrounded by it 24/7 in a federal facility. Quando is doing his time with purpose, not pain. He went from facing 20 years in federal prison to serving less than 3. He's already completed a big part of that sentence, and word is he's counting down the days till he walks free again. And when that day comes, he's made one thing very clear. He's done with the streets for good. Some people call that growth. Others say it's just survival. But either way, Quando Rondo is not the same man he was before that day in August 2022. Getting set up by your own gang, watching your cousin die in your arms, and realizing the entire system you trusted was built to destroy you. That'll change anyone. And for Quando, it did. Permanently, he grew up with nothing in Savannah, Georgia. He made it as a rapper, got caught in street politics, lost his people, survived an assassination attempt, got hit with federal time, and even got beat up in prison. Yet through all of that, he's still here, still breathing, still learning, still becoming something better. Quando Rondo's story isn't about fame anymore. It's about awakening. It's about realizing that the same brotherhood that promised loyalty actually handed your location to your enemies. Think about that. The same gang he checked in with allegedly gave Lil Durk's crew the exact spot and car he was in. That's not loyalty. That's business. Quando finally saw for what it was. A trap. A cycle that keeps young men enslaved, broken, and disposable. Now he's doing time. Not for murder, not for drugs, but for refusing to snitch that he could have cut a deal. He could have walked free sooner. But he chose to stand on his own morals. He took his sentence like a man, 2 years and 9 months, and went silent instead of selling anyone out. And even after getting violated in prison for dropping his flag, that beating just proved everything he'd been saying, that gang loyalty is fake when the politics get involved. Real brotherhood doesn't set you up to die, then punish you for leaving. Quando Rondo is expected to walk free soon. And when that day comes, the world will be watching. Will he go back to the old ways? Or will he truly step into a new chapter? If you ask me, based on everything he's endured, how he's carried himself, and what he's lost, he's not going back. He's lost his cousin Low Pab, nearly lost his life, and sacrificed years of freedom. The streets took enough from him. The cost became too high, and he finally saw it. That's what real growth looks like. It's not perfect, not clean, not easy, but it's real. Quando Rondo went from being a gang-tied rapper to a man trying to rebuild through faith, discipline, and self-awareness. The streets will test him. The gang already did. His enemies are still out there. But even with all that, Quando made his choice to walk away from everything that wants to find him. And whether people respect it or not, you've got to admit, it takes real courage to walk away from a world that punishes you for changing. So now you know the truth behind what really happened to Quando Rondo. He didn't get beat up over King Von. He didn't get attacked because of Lil Durk. He got violated because he dared to expose the gang life for what it really is, a lie. They made him pay for that truth, but he's still standing, still transforming, and still becoming a better version of himself. Real recognizes real. And what Quando Rondo is doing right now, that's as real as it gets. Don't forget to subscribe. Family, we drop daily stories like this, bringing you the truth behind the headlines. Stay tuned.